Well, g'day. This is Ross from Iron Horse Channel. I just thought I'd make another short video demonstrating 3 possible models of the flat Earth Sun that can all work according to the basic understanding I've been demonstrating. So I hope you've been watching some of my earlier videos showing how the model works, how we have a firmament B down low and a firmament, wonderful show. That's the firmament. That's our firmament B down here. That's the gaseous layer of our atmosphere where the sky fluoresces blue. Then it's all dark void all the way up to 60 to 70 miles high, where I believe that there is a frozen hydrogen layer where the energy from the sun directs through that layer and causes a huge burst of energy, like when an arc welder creates the power source connects to the Earth, creates a big plasma ball of light that fuses hydrogen into helium. That's the superfluid helium layer, which I believe the moon rests upon, and that's where the bright orb of the sun appears to each person's point of view. So from a person down here looking from below at the time when the sun is overhead, to him it's going to appear here in the firmament B, and if you got it up higher, it would be up there. So it's creating a line of sight to him, whereas person B over here is seeing his version of the sun here through there from the line of sight from the top. So that's the basic model, where I assume the sun is anywhere, based on the Eratosthenes experiments and the angle of shadow, where somewhere 500 miles apart has an angle shadow of 7.2 degrees while the other place has no shadow whatsoever cast, indicates that the sun is just slightly short of 4,000 miles high on that particular day. So we've used them as some ballpark figures. So there are 3 different ways that the sun can work. My favourite one is the sun getting higher, so I'll save that one for last. The first one is very, very simple, is that just like a 24-hour clock, well, you know what a 24-hour clock looks like, that's the hour hand. The hour hand represents the motion of the sun. So if the sun was like the clock hand of a flat surface somewhere, a mechanical realm, all you need to do, and I've got a little, it's a thermometer, but all you need to do is you draw your line there for the Tropic of Cancer, there for the equator, and there for the Tropic of Capricorn. So as we can see on this map over here, that's that Tropic of Cancer, goes around there. That's the equator, that red line goes around there, and that's the Tropic of Capricorn. So all that sun has to be doing is throughout the year slides along the hour hand and all the way out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and then slides back in again 2 times around the equinox, is the equator. That would work with a simple mechanical model. Another one, which also works quite well, is if the sun, for example, was, say, the backside of Polaris. I know, crazy, right? But let's just assume that it works like a big Christmas tree. Everything above us, above the firmament. The firmament is the base of the tree, so that's where we see the stars all moving as a single body, rotating around Polaris. Yes, there's an explanation. We'll talk about the stars another day, why they appear to go the opposite direction outside of the equator. But basically then, if the sun was a spotlight from Polaris, but it was the backside of it, it would work like a lighthouse, shines the light out to the Tropic of Cancer, and spinning on the spot sends out a beam through the firmament to make a 24-hour day. And then, of course, throughout the year, it moves back. It just has to adjust its tilt slightly by a degree per day and gets to the equator. It's still rotating exactly 15 degrees per hour, just like the hour hand of the clock. A very slow rotation, as people say, 0.0694 RPMs. It's the speed that they say the Earth is spinning. Well, that could be the speed of the lighthouse moving around, tilting a degree per day until it gets to the December 22nd, and then it starts tilting back in by a degree per day. That works without having to change speed. My favourite one, and of course I forgot to get it. I was going to go grab it before I started. Tell you what, I'll grab it now. Yeah, I had to wait till I finished off a bog roll before I could do this particular one. A tube, a tunnel. If I bring it closer, it will exaggerate the effect more and more. We both know that each side of that tube is the same size, each end of it. But when it gets closer and closer, one end makes a much bigger circle, the other one makes a much smaller. And if I turn it around, you can see there's no cheating here. They're definitely both the same size. So the sun could be constantly going around the Tropic of Capricorn when it's lowest to us, lowest being nearest. So when we're looking up through it, we see the sun making a much bigger path, and as it gets higher and higher, it makes the smaller path. And the best way you could describe that is if you were looking down a very long tunnel and we put a big, massive coil of LED lights all the way through to the end, and you set the settings so that one lit up at a time, so that it just went in a big spiral round and round and round and round and round and round till it got to the other end. Well, the far end would be the highest point, June 22nd, and then as it gets nearer, it makes a bigger and bigger circuit. But the way that works then is if you hung a sheet in front of the tunnel entrance, so all you could see was the light through the sheet, you just see it making a smaller circle every day and a bigger one every day. The speed never has to change whatsoever. That's the one I prefer because that's the first one I started with, but over the years I've thought of more and more, such as if it was a laser pointer like a lighthouse, also works. If it's like the hour hand of a clock and it's just sliding in and out throughout the years, that also works. So there's three versions of how the sun model could work on the flat Earth without ever having to change speed. There's a certain infamous flat earther who's notorious for being well, let's not say what he's notorious for. I'm not trying to make enemies with anybody. You know, I'm trying to be friendly with everybody. But when you get onto their chats and they just keep muting you every time you're trying to have a bit of a conversation with one of the Globers, it's a little bit frustrating, you know. This guy loves the centre of attention so much. He even got the shits when I found another Flat Earth channel who would let me talk, and he said, well, I'm not hanging around then if you're going to let him monologue. He wants to be the monologuer the whole time, but you get that. So there's three simple models for how I believe the sun works on the flat Earth that matches observations. There was another one I might quickly do. It's got another minute or two. Is if I just use this as an example of the sun. It's a bright torch, right? So when we got it really close, that sort of matches how the model could work. So half the Earth is in darkness, the other half is in light. And so the further out you get, the more the light spreads out throughout the southern hemisphere. It's a trickier model to work with. It works probably better for a more complicated type of dome-shaped scenario, perhaps. But it is another possibility for how it could work. I believe that the firmament is flat. Most people like to think it's domed because when we do look up at the night sky, for example, and look at the stars, the way they spread out around us, it appears, due to perspective, that we are within our own personal perspective dome. So, what have I got? 1 minute? All right, really, really quickly, let's talk about the southern rotation of the stars, and then I'll leave you. So, you know the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Picture yourself on a boat on a river, the girl with kaleidoscope eyes. So if we've got a kaleidoscope, everything in the centre rotates one direction. Everything around the outside is multiple facets, where everything rotates around a different central point, but looks the same to every facet. So even though we have time zones and the night is at a different time, we're looking through a facet, and the things appear to rotate the opposite way, even though the whole kaleidoscope is turning the same direction. That's one possible theory. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.